Welcome to Mini Adventures. Thank you all so much for being supporters on Buy Me a Coffee. I really appreciate your support in supporting the podcast and for listening. I hope you enjoy the Mini Adventures. Hi everybody, welcome to this month's Mini Adventures. It is January 2023. Happy New Year, everybody. For this mini adventure, since it's the first part of the year, I thought we would look at first geocaches for each type. Now, we may all be familiar with the first traditional cache, or what became a traditional cache, the original stash, which was placed by Dave Ulmer in May of 2000 in Oregon, which is what kicked off this game of geocaching that we all love so much. It is no longer active, but has been replaced by the Stash Tribute Cache in its place. But besides that, do you know what the first of each cache type was? I got my information from epicgeocaching.com. So these caches are first that are no longer available to find. The first webcam cache was the Houston webcam cache number 1. The description even listed as the first ever webcam cache. It was placed in October of 2001 in Houston, Texas. The webcam itself was placed by the Houston Museum of Natural Science. The first 8 cache, which was Mission 1 Devil's Spoon, it was hidden in May of 2001 in California. And after 8 finds, it was marked as missing. The first multi-cache, Missouri's second Odessa Confluence, I think I pronounced that right. It was hidden in August of 2000. This is the first cache initially listed as a multi-cache. The first stage was part of a degree confluence project. There is an older multi-cache still active in Georgia, but it started as a traditional and then was later on changed to a multi-cache. The first locational cache, Please Donate Blood Cache. It was placed in September of 2001. It was listed at the former World Trade Center in New York. It was placed as a reminder and call to geocachers to give blood after the attack the day before. The first ever event was Austin Geocache's Happy Hour, which took place March of 2001. One cacher thought it would be fun to get together a bunch of local geocachers, and he created this one-time geocache. As the first ever event, there was some confusion, so people kept going to the bar and logging it until it was archived in September. That's kind of funny. The first mega event was Geo Woodstock 4. It was held in May of 2006. It was the first mega event held in Texas. There are some entertaining logs. You want to go back and look at some of it. People talk about the largest numbers of geocachers ever, which was in the hundreds at the time, to a needs maintenance log because attenders had symptoms of Lyme disease. The first Giga event ever was Project Munchie 2014. It was held in Germany in August of 2014, and over 7,000 people attended the first ever Giga. The first ever CETO event was CETO in MN, Minnesota, marked as available any day, and was listed in September of 2002. It was a bit of an odd listing as it is clearly a CETO, but it was called for Minnesotans to clean up anywhere in the state. So kind of like the locationless cache that we had recently that called geocachers to do a CETO or pick up trash anywhere in the world. The first letterbox, so this one is kind of odd. It's not archived, but it's locked. You can view it, but you can't log it, but it's not archived. But the first letterbox was Open Space 6. There were a number of cross-listed letterboxes in the past, but the icon was made available, and this was the first one using that icon, and it was placed in January of 2001. The rest of these geocaches are still available to find. As of this recording, I checked all the cache pages. They are still open for logging. So the first Earth Cache, which you can still find, Earth Cache 1, a simple geology tour of Wasphead. It's in New South Wales, Australia. It was placed in January of 2004. An interesting note is that there are actually a few Earth caches with an earlier date, but they were submitted as virtuals and then later turned into Earth caches once that became a thing. The first mystery cache was Octopus Garden. It was placed in September of 2000. It's a simple puzzle that started a movement that includes paper and pencil conundrums, online searches for obscure facts, field puzzles, and some of the most epic enigmas in geocaching. That's a direct quote from this epicgeocaching.com article. There is one mystery cache that was placed before it, but it was never found. It was archived because the cache was removed by the property owner. So my guess is whoever placed that geocache didn't have permission and the property owners didn't want it there, is my guess. The first virtual is called Rift Valley. It was also placed in 2000, in June of 2000 to be exact. It was placed as a divine cache. And divine caches were placed because they were directly on a crosshair of latitude and longitude. This one is in Africa on the equator. There's an older virtual in Australia, but that got converted after the traditional geocache was removed because it's in a national park, and I guess they didn't want a geocache there. So it's that one started out as a traditional and later developed to a virtual. And the first Where I Went Hugo. It was placed in London, England in January of 2008. There's another one with a date of 2004, but that was one that was also started as a traditional cache, and then that changed to a Where I Go later on in 2010. So there you have it. That is what I was able to find on the first of each cache type. I hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting.